the game just recently jumped in terrain fidelity, and what's happened is I've taken the individual 3D terrain models for all of the Apollo mission terrain. All the craters that were available as stls from NASA. As you can see on the screen, there they are. And what I've done is create a terrain stamp that is seamless. So basically what I've done is unify the terrain under stamp, and I'll demonstrate how it gets stamped. And that removes the seams. So you don't see any seams. I don't need to put any terrain on top of it or sculpt it separately or anything like that. I just use it in Unity, stamp it, and move on. And it's a height map. So, all right. So basically that's what I did. I took the chunks. I created a capture script that saves that render texture. Anyways, I created my own shader for it, so I can grab the height map. So the darkest colors are the lowest ground. Basically, it'll be like sea level, bottom of this ocean, if there was an ocean on the moon. And the wider shading is elevated terrain. So that's what a height map is, a difference between two colors for ground level to elevation. So, and then this gets created as an image, basically, and this image gets created into a brush that can be used on terrain. So we're going to go into the moon level, on the moon. Put this guy there. So this is just my stamping scene. So if I have 3D terrain data from any of the space agencies, this is where it goes, and then now it gets created into a high fidelity stamp with that is seamless. So okay, let's do that. So, go to the moon. All right. Takes a bit to load. It's much bigger now. All right. So just get rid of something so it doesn't bother us. So now, as you can see, we have a lot more terrain that we cover. So the moon is being mined, obviously. And given these unified stamps now, as you can see on my screen, I can, for example, let's pick this one. And then re-imprint that all of those craters, all of those landing sites onto a new chunk of terrain. And I can move on like that. And of course, this is cardinally unified. So these are positioned according to the north of the moon, the south of the moon. So the cardinal points on the moon, which reference the grid. So there's already a latitudinal and longitudinal grid for the moon. That's how we get around. So this uses the same thing. And the way you do that on the moon is you position it off the Earth. So where's the Earth in relation to the moon? And I mean, the Earth has a pole, right? So you can orient yourself based on where the Earth is. So here, let me just demonstrate the use of the stamp. So this is the right size. So at this point, I would just actually just increase the strength and then recreate. It's a little bit too big. So the stamp would, in one shot, create this 440 some kilometer terrain. Sorry, let me, just wasting time. A little bit small. There we go. That's fine. Okay. And the way you stamp typically this size is top down. Maybe a slight slant so you can see the height. Okay, there we go. And done. So there's still a separation here. Depends how high you raise it. But in Unity, it's easy to smooth it out. So, for example, I would just smooth this out. So to zoom in a bit. So basically, you would just have it so that it doesn't stick out like a stamp, you know. So you just smooth it out. So this is how you'd create now in Warp Ancestor via this stamping pipeline, new chunks of terrain. There are actual height maps of NASA STL topographies. There you go. And this is game ready. So this simulation ready. You just place your stuff on it and you're good to go. Okay. All right. So that's just an example. I'm gonna roll back on that, or just recreate it actually. Let's see. I might just leave it. No, it doesn't exist, right? It's just a copy. So if I don't want that anymore, maybe this guy. I don't want him anymore. I can just add new neighboring terrain chunks and then make sure they're smooth. Right. There's no issues. Yeah. We could just flatten it or raise it. Just randomly, because right now you wouldn't have access to this chunk. It's way a couple of 100 kilometers away, a few hundred kilometers away from the current center of the maps that are available to you and to the public, like what was released. So okay, let me just move this out. This way. This way it'll look like this way it'll look more naturally, and eventually when we get the next chunks from NASA, they'll go in. But we can create, so I can create stamps from lithography. So we're going to show that next. Okay. Okay, so the next stamp is actually the new Carol Crater stamp. And it goes far west of Lynn. So we're actually going to put it here. It's supposed to be far west of the current stamp chunk. So here just I did a quick double check to make sure that my coordinate placement for this new crater is correct based on where you start in the game, in the simulation on the moon, so that if you go to it, you know where it is on the moon. Say you know the coordinates, the real coordinates, and you just go far west and you will eventually hit it, and you can use the compass in the game. So we have the actual coordinates. We're going to stamp it, and then we're going to add a map reference to it. Right. Highest north, and then Carol. Got it. So we already basically know where we're going to place it, somewhere here, but probably a little bit here, closer to here. Okay. Now we're going to extend the area that you can travel in, so you can go and see it. So we're really high up, like a kilometer or two, and it may seem tiled, but that's because we're at a great height. And the moon has different tones and shades in patches, so that is also represented here. Okay, so we're going to stamp it. So basically what we're going to do is go a little bit here. We're going to put it a little bit closer, so it won't be that far from Lynn, so you can still go and see it. What I'm interested in is the actual dimensions. So first, I'm going to show you the anaglyph. So we can take anaglyphs to create stamps. So this is the anaglyph. This comes from the new Wikipedia upload. There it is. Oh, that's the one. There we go. Right. So it comes from whoever uploaded the information, and it's sourced to NASA. Right. Okay. So we grab the anaglyph. We have it in the engine. We're going to make the crater here. I just need to know the diameter. So it's 5.6 kilometers. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than Lynn, which is under a kilometer. So, but given the scale here, we're gonna make it like probably 2 kilometers, like a little bit less. So, okay, I'm gonna create a new brush. Grab that guy. Let's take a look. And yes, sir. I just want to make sure it's I think so. Should work. Okay. So it's gonna be a little bit bigger than Lynn. There we go. So again, we're about to stamp the Carroll, Carroll crater that was recently named during the Artemis 2 mission. And it's named after the mission commander's recently departed significant other, his wife. So the full name is Anne Carroll Taylor Wiseman. Should be here somewhere. I think the full name. Should be Anne, I think, because was this edited? Right. Okay. So Carroll Taylor Wiseman. Right. Okay. So we're going to stamp it.